The house that holds me. The night everything changed started with silence. Not the peaceful kind of silence. The heavy, foreboding kind, like the calm before a storm. I was sitting at the dining table, finishing homework I didn't really care about, while my parents were out for their usual Friday night dinner date. They always went to the same Italian restaurant, always ordered the same thing: chicken Alfredo for dad, lasagna for mom. It was supposed to be an ordinary night. When the knock came at the door, I remember feeling annoyed. It was 10 p.m. Who knocks at this hour? I opened the door to see two police officers standing there, their expressions somber. I knew something was wrong before they even spoke. Are you... The officer paused to glance at his notepad. Jason Carter? I nodded, feeling a knot tighten in my stomach. There's been an accident, he said. Your parents... He hesitated, as if saying it out loud would make it worse. I'm sorry, son. They didn't make it. For a moment, I felt nothing. No tears, no panic. Just a hollow, echoing numbness. I wanted to slam the door, as if shutting them out would make it untrue. But I didn't. I stood there, staring at them until one of the officers gently asked if there was someone they could call for me. There wasn't. I was 16, and my parents were gone. The days that followed blurred together in a haze of funeral arrangements, casseroles from neighbors, and pitying glances from people I barely knew. Everyone kept saying, if you need anything, just let us know. But I never knew what to ask for. What could I ask for? Could they bring my parents back? Could they make the empty house feel less suffocating? After the funeral, it hit me. This was it. No aunts or uncles to take me in, no siblings to lean on. Just me and the big empty house my parents had left behind. For weeks, I avoided their bedroom. It felt sacred, like stepping inside would disturb the last traces of their presence. But one night, I couldn't take it anymore. The silence of the house was crushing, and I found myself standing in their doorway. Their room was exactly as they'd left it. Mom's scarf draped over a chair, Dad's reading glasses on the nightstand. I sat on their bed, burying my face in Mom's pillow. It still smelled like her, like lavender and the faint scent of her favorite lotion. That's when the tears finally came. Weeks' worth of bottled-up grief spilling out in a torrent. I cried until I couldn't anymore. And then, for the first time in weeks, I felt a strange sense of calm. Like they were still with me somehow. Living alone at 16 was like learning to swim by being thrown into the deep end. The bills, the groceries, the laundry, it all piled up. I burned dinner more times than I cared to admit. I forgot to take out the trash, ran out of shampoo, and once left the stove on all night. School became my escape. It was the one place where I didn't have to think about the empty house waiting for me. But even there, I couldn't escape the whispers. That's the kid whose parents died. Do you think he's okay? I heard he's living alone. The pity in their eyes was worse than the whispers. I didn't want to be the poor kid or the tragic story. I just wanted to be normal. But nothing about my life was normal anymore. One afternoon, as I was rummaging through the attic for some of my mom's old paperwork, I found a box labeled Jason's Memories. Inside were things I hadn't seen in years. Baby pictures, crayon drawings, birthday cards. At the very bottom was a journal. It wasn't mine. It was my mom's. I hesitated before opening it, feeling like I was intruding. But curiosity won. The entries were filled with stories about me. My first steps, my first word, my first day of school. She wrote about how proud she was of me, how she believed I could handle anything life threw at me. The last entry was dated 2 weeks before the accident. Jason is growing up so fast. I can't believe he's already 16. I know he doesn't need me as much as he used to, but I hope he always remembers how much we love him. He's stronger than he knows. I clutched the journal to my chest, tears streaming down my face. For the first time, I felt something other than grief. I felt a responsibility, not just to survive, but to live the life my parents believed I could. The next few months were hard, but I found a rhythm. I got a part-time job at a diner after school to help cover expenses. My boss, a gruff man named Pete, became an unlikely mentor. He never said much, but he always left a plate of food for me after my shift. And once, when I accidentally burned my hand, he muttered, "You're tougher than you look, kid." Slowly, the house began to feel less like a tomb and more like a home again. I hung up pictures of my parents, their smiles a constant reminder of what I was working for. Now, a year later, I'm still figuring things out. I won't lie and say it's easy. It's not. There are days when the loneliness feels unbearable, when I'd give anything to hear my mom's laugh or watch a game with my dad. But I've learned that grief isn't something you get over. It's something you carry. And while it's heavy, it's also a reminder of how much they loved me and how much I loved them. If there's one thing I know now, it's this. Life doesn't stop when you lose someone. It feels like it should. It feels like the world should come to a screeching halt. But it doesn't. And maybe that's a good thing. Because as long as the world keeps turning, there's always a chance to keep going, to keep living, and to keep finding moments of joy, even in the midst of sorrow. And so I do.